Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday Wisdom. It is May 22nd. My name is Marcy Forrest. My website is Hello Extraordinary Life. If you haven't been there yet, check it out on the landing page. Pick up your free guide, your free ebook called 3 Steps to Reprogramming Your Negative Self-Talk. I am an emotional wellness coach. I coach people on that journey inside, the one that we take inside to learn how to alter our negative self-talk, reprogram the messages that we've been taught for our life, and love ourselves from the inside out. What I know today is the more I love me, the more love I have to give, and the more I can love you. And that's what I get to help others and you do for yourself. Because quite frankly, we don't really know. We don't really know how to do that until we actually do it. And then we don't know until we get some guidance or tools or some way to do something different than we've always done. And that is the programming, that definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. It just never works, but we do it until we do something else, and that's what I'm here to help guide you to do. I am concluding my 7-week course. That's another option, is a group course, and this one is, again, learning how to reprogram that negative self-talk through the avenue of healing the inner child and developing that relationship with your inner child, because we all have that little one that lives inside of us. And as I complete, I don't have dates, probably July or August for the next one. Check that out on the website. It's under the Work With Me tab. You can go to the website and go to the Contact Me page. Reach out to me. We can set up a conversation, casual conversation, to determine what's a good fit for you and where are you at in your life now and where do you want to go. Today, I would like to share with you, I would not like to, I'm going to share with you. I just completed a program called Lincoln Leadership Lincoln. I can't remember which order it goes in. It's been a 9-month program. And I didn't realize how it's kind of bittersweet when you come to the end of something. And as much as I felt ready to be done, we completed officially in the graduation, got a certificate. And I had this just moment of sad that it's over and glad that it's over. And I just wanted to acknowledge it and share that, because sometimes we just dismiss, oh, it's just a feeling, oh, whatever, and we shove it back down. And today I don't shove those back down. If I wanted to say it out loud, I had that moment of feeling a little weepy as I walked out the door and completed today. Today I was like, what am I going to talk about? So I really had some fun creating the names that I put out there of Bossy and Sensitive, and really looking at how personal someone, I don't know if anyone else did, but how personal this one woman took Bossy, the one I called Bossy, and how I did not. And I really got to see the evidence of, she reminds me of my mom. The judgment, opinion, I always have to be right, although Bossy is a little different in her delivery. And I was humored by her. I was just humored by her. And I thought, wow, that's quite interesting, because there was a time in my life not so long ago, probably a year ago, that I would have been very much like Sensitive. So if you have those people in your life that trigger you, how they treat their husbands or how they speak about their opinion, how they see the world, and you get triggered, it's a good place to look and do a pulse check of your own self and where you are. Because if you're getting triggered, it's something in you, either something you've outgrown and haven't accepted yet, or something that you don't like about yourself. So often those are the two measures that I can see. Sometimes the measure is, look at how far I've come. Like, because I was just neutral about it and I didn't take her personal and I just could chuckle about it. And then later realized that she was like my mom. I can see how much I've healed that relationship with myself. And that has changed my relationship with my mom. If it had been last year, I would have taken her personal, just like Sensitive did, and could have looked at what's being triggered that still needs healing, or maybe how far I've come, but I still don't like that, or I don't forgive that in myself, that I behaved that way, or I had that issue. To get to look at, it's a place to evaluate where you are, simply by looking at how someone else, even if it's not interacted to you. Like what I saw was Sensitive got her feelings hurt from Bossy, and Bossy wasn't even talking to her. Bossy was just being bossy and just stating her opinion as if it's fact. And Sensitive took it very personal and got her feelings very hurt. And so even if it's not a direction of like somebody's not talking to you and they're talking to someone else that you're witnessing and you're triggered, take a look inside yourself and consider, what is the trigger? What just got touched? And Sensitive was just appalled at how Bossy talked to her husband. Well, that's how she talks to her husband, and her husband accepts it. Would I do that? No. So maybe it's about what I wouldn't do. Oh, I didn't like that. How do I treat my husband? Do I get bossy sometimes? Do I come across the way she did? Maybe there's something to look at there, and then decide if that behavior that you witnessed, if you do it somewhere, does it work for you? Because if you're upset about it, because you know somewhere in there it's something that you probably still do in some way. Maybe not the way the person that you saw do it. Maybe it looks different. Like I can say that how my mom made my dad wrong and had to be right all the time, or how she judged and had an opinion about everything, her delivery is different than Bossy. It's just different. It's a little more subtle sometimes. I'll qualify that with sometimes. Sometimes it's really out there, really not quite as abrasive, I guess is how I would put that. But even though the delivery is different, the behavior is very similar. That's where we get to look. Okay, so maybe I don't do that exact behavior, but it's still pushing my button. So if it's pushing my button, what's the button? And why am I disturbed by that? Because the more we heal our relationship with ourselves and how we speak to ourselves, how we treat ourselves, because that's also, if I'm treating someone else that way, I'm treating me that way. You can be quite sure. If can you imagine what goes on in Bossy's world inside of her? Like, I considered that. Bossy's bossy. She's abrasive, and she has this huge, huge heart. Like offline, she came across that way a couple times to me, and I just didn't make it mean anything, so it disengages it. And at the 11th hour for this event, Bossy, we were doing hair together. We had four, I wrote about this, we had four hydraulic chairs, 4 chairs that were manual lift, like an office chair. She said, no, we have to have hydraulic chairs. We all have to have hydraulics. She took her trailer, her money, and her husband and went to this beauty supply and bought 8 chairs, 8 hydraulic old styling chairs for $20 each. Who does that? And then delivered them. So like I see her heart and then I see her behavior, and they don't really match. Her heart is huge, and she's super passionate about being able to help the veterans and their families. And I told my friend, she's just an asshole. And she really is. She's just not very kind in her delivery. And I think, what is the pain inside of her? Because she's doing that externally to other people. Can you imagine the degree, how much more she does it to herself? Imagine what she doesn't say out loud. just be vocal. And then consider yourself. So maybe you don't say those things out loud, but you have a judgment about how she is. How do you do that to yourself? And if you don't like how you do that to yourself, or you realize you're doing it to yourself, what can you do different? What can you do different that begins to heal that wounding that you carry that creates this judgment and this opinion or this having to be right and treating others bad? And even if you're not treating them bad, you might be thinking it. If I'm doing it to them, if you're doing it to them, you're doing it to you, period. So take that with you and consider when you begin that judgment and you begin having opinions about how someone looks or how they're dressed or how they act, hold the mirror up for yourself and ask yourself, how do I do this to me? Because if I said those things out loud to people, I wouldn't have very many friends. And if I'm saying it to me, I'm not being very kind to me. So how can I shift that? And how can I begin to be kinder to myself and stop being my own whipping post? So I think that's the main message, is if I'm doing it to you and if you're doing it to others, it's more. It's more to ourselves because no one really hears our own self-talk except us. So begin seeing the mirror so that you can begin shifting that talk. And I've said it over and over, come up with a plan. Okay, now I know I do these things. I'm aware of these things. What am I putting in place so when it happens, I have something ready to utilize as a tool? And then put it in place. And if you forget right away, just do it as soon as you remember, because it's a practice, right? It's a practice that we continue to learn, and it's a process that we keep doing. And that's the message for today. So I hope that was helpful, and I will hear you all again next